Japan put a glowing anime robot on a manhole cover, and it turns out that is one of the most logical things they have ever done. There is a cafe in Tokyo where the robots are controlled by people who cannot leave their homes. There is a bullet train wrapped in pirate flags, and it is not for tourists, it is for the towns tourists never visit. And there is a holographic singer whose entire music catalog was written by strangers on the internet. And she has been selling out arenas for 15 years. Every single one of those things has a reason behind it that makes complete sense. Japan has been quietly solving real problems: labor shortages, dying towns, aging populations, and hiding the solutions inside pop culture. Once you see the pattern, you cannot unsee it. There are 13 of them in this video. If that sounds like your kind of thing, subscribe before we get into it, because we have a lot more of this coming. Let's get into number 1. Number 1. Solar-powered anime manholes. Let's start with those manholes. In Tokorozawa, about 40 minutes from Tokyo, the city installed 28 LED manhole covers into the pavement. Each one glows from below. Each one shows artwork from Gundam or Evangelion. Each one runs on solar power collected during the day. From a distance, it looks like a city with a very specific personality. But here's what is actually going on. At night, those covers light up pedestrian paths without touching the city's power grid. They guide people along safe, pre-planned walking routes. And because the artwork is tied to major franchises, fans travel specifically to photograph them. That means foot traffic. Foot traffic means spending. Spending means the city earns back the installation cost through tourism. A glowing manhole cover. Zero ongoing power cost. Built-in tourist attraction. Japan just made infrastructure look like a collectible. Number 2. 2.5D musicals. In 2023, Japan's 2.5D theater industry made $175 million. It now holds 40% of the country's entire musical theater market. Here's the concept. Live actors on a real stage recreate anime characters. Exactly. The gravity-defying jumps from Naruto. The impossible tennis serves from Prince of Tennis. Projection-mapped effects that make a human body move like a drawing. The obvious question is, why pay for a live show when you can stream the anime for free? That is the whole point. You cannot stream the feeling of watching that happen 3 meters in front of you. You cannot download the moment the crowd around you loses it. The 2.5D musical was built specifically for the streaming era, a format that cannot be pirated, cannot be replicated on a screen, and cannot be experienced alone on a couch. It pulls a generation raised on digital content back into a physical seat, and it charges them well for the privilege. Number 3. Seichi Junrei. There is a street corner in a small Japanese town that gets thousands of visitors every year. No historical significance, no monument, nothing remarkable about it at all, except that it appeared in the background of an anime scene, and the artist drew it with perfect accuracy. This is Seichi Junrei. Anime pilgrimage. And it is not a quirky fan thing, it is a documented economic force that sends billions of yen into rural towns that would otherwise have no tourism at all. The mechanism is straightforward. Japanese animation studios have always used real locations as reference. They recreate them precisely. When fans spot those locations, they travel to stand in the exact spot their favorite character stood. Same angle, same view. Then they eat local food, stay in local hotels, and spend money the town desperately needs. One animated background, drawn accurately, turns a forgotten town into a destination. The only investment was paying attention to detail. Number 4. The VTuber privacy logic. The VTuber market hit 80 billion yen in 2023. Over 19,000 active creators worldwide. The top earners pull in millions annually. None of them have ever shown their face. A VTuber performs through a digital avatar. Motion capture translates their real movements into an animated character in real time. The audience sees the character. The person behind it stays completely private. Think about what that actually solves. A human performer ages. They have bad days. They say the wrong thing in an interview. One headline can end a career built over years. A character does none of that. The character stays consistent. The reputation stays controlled. And if the person behind it needs to step away, the character can continue. For the performer, it means a real career without the personal exposure that makes fame feel like a trap. For the agency, it means an asset that does not depreciate. The VTuber format evolved because the industry found a smarter structure to manage the volatility and privacy risks of human performers. Number 5. The ANA Pokemon Jet. All Nippon Airways flies, commercial Boeing aircraft painted entirely in Pokemon. Pikachu on the fuselage, character murals on the wings, Pokemon illustrations on the safety cards inside. While it looks like a children's promotion, The math behind the Pokemon jet is aimed squarely at the parents. The children who played Pokemon in 1996 are now in their mid-30s and 40s. They have jobs, families, and money to spend. They are among the highest value passengers in the aviation industry. ANA is not marketing to children. It is marketing to adults who remember being children, and who will choose the Pokemon flight over an identical competitor at the same price simply because of how it makes them feel. Nostalgia, when used correctly, is not sentiment. It is a targeting strategy. ANA just happens to execute it at 35,000 feet. Number 6. Gachapon. There are buildings in Japan, multiple floors, prime city real estate, that contain nothing but capsule toy vending machines. Thousands of them, wall to wall, floor to ceiling. No staff, no registers, no customer service. You put in coins. A capsule drops. You open it. Done. The gachapon market was worth 80 billion yen in 2024. Bandai alone shipped 220 million units last year across 1,500 product types. Here is why it works. Urban retail space in Japan is expensive. Finding staff is increasingly difficult as the population ages. Gachapon solves both at once. The machines stack vertically, so they use minimal floor space. They need no employees. And they offer something a digital purchase never can. The physical act of turning a handle, hearing the capsule fall, and holding something real. That moment of anticipation is not a small thing. It is the reason people keep coming back, even when they know exactly what they are doing. Number 7. The Avatar Robot Cafe. In Tokyo, there is a cafe where robots serve the coffee. Small robots, expressive ones. They move carefully, almost like they are concentrating. And they look, very clearly, like they are being controlled by someone. They are. Every robot in the Dawn Avatar Cafe is operated remotely by a person with a severe physical disability, ALS spinal cord injuries, multiple sclerosis. They work from home, sometimes hundreds of kilometers away, using eye tracking technology or small limb movements to control the robot over a 5G connection. Over 60 people are employed this way. People who, without this system, would have almost no path into the workforce. Japan has a labor shortage. It also has a serious problem with workforce exclusion for people with disabilities. Only 19% are currently employed. The Avatar Cafe quietly addresses both. And it does it by making the robots look like something from a mech anime, so customers find the experience exciting, rather than clinical. The cafe runs as a real business. Real customers, real coffee, real revenue. The pop culture framing is not a costume. It is what makes the whole thing function. Number 8. Manga manners. Japan uses anime characters on government signs. Sailor Moon explains recycling. Akira characters remind you which side of the escalator to stand on. Manga figures appear on posters covering everything from fire safety to train etiquette. The Japanese government isn't doing this because they're fans. They're doing it because traditional authority doesn't command attention anymore. Official warnings rarely work. Everywhere in the world, the moment a message comes from an authority, people switch off. The brain files it under lecture and moves on. But people pay attention to characters they love. They actually read the sign. They follow the instruction. Not because they were told to, but because the character they grew up with asked them to. Japan found the gap between knowing the rule and actually following it. Then it closed that gap with something people already had an emotional connection to. The message stayed the same. The messenger changed. And the streets stayed clean. Number 9. Hatsune Miku. Hatsune Miku has sold out concert venues. She has global brand deals. She has fans who have followed her for over 15 years. She is also a hologram, and every song she has ever performed was written by a stranger on the internet. Miku is a vocal synthesizer, software anyone can license to create music. The songs belong to whoever made them. The character belongs to the fans. The company behind her, Krypton Future Media, provides the platform and collects licensing fees. They have never hired a songwriter, never managed a personal brand, never dealt with a scandal. Most artists are built from the top down. A label creates the image, controls the output, and pushes it to an audience. Miku runs the other way. The fans create the music. The fans build the story. The fans keep her relevant, because they are personally invested in a way no marketing budget can replicate. It is the most cost-efficient creative model in the music industry, and it has been running on voluntary fan energy for nearly 2 decades. Number 10. The Moving Gundam. Between 2020 and 2024, Japan operated an 18-meter-tall walking Gundam in Yokohama. The entertainment was actually the secondary goal. The primary function of the project was to serve as a high-stakes stress test for heavy-duty industrial joints and 5G remote control mechanics. The data gathered there is currently being funneled into the construction robotics that will build the Japanese cities of 2030. The systems making it move, the 5G control infrastructure, the load-bearing joint mechanics, the real-time feedback keeping that much weight upright, are direct prototypes for construction and industrial robotics. Every hour it operates in front of a paying crowd, it generates engineering data that would cost tens of millions to collect in a lab. Number 11. Ichiban Kuji. At 7 in the morning, outside certain 7-Eleven stores in Japan, there are queues. Not for a new product, not for a sale. For a lottery ticket that might win you an anime figure, Ichiban Kuji works like this. You cannot buy the figure outright. You buy a ticket from a tiered prize pool. The top prize is the figure. Lower tiers are still branded merchandise. Every ticket wins something. That one design decision, making the figure unavailable for direct purchase, guarantees foot traffic at every participating store, multiple times a year. The store gets a reliable sellout event. The brand gets nationwide distribution without owning a single shelf. And the customer gets the pull of a lottery, which is a fundamentally different feeling from simply buying something. Retail psychology, anime packaging, consistent results. The queue forms every time. Number 12. The One Piece Shinkansen. Japan's bullet trains run at 300 kilometers per hour. Some of them are also completely wrapped in One Piece pirate flags and character art. But the detail that matters is this. Those wrapped trains do not run on the main lines. They run on the slower regional routes, the ones connecting smaller towns that most tourists skip entirely. By using a recognized IP like One Piece, J.R. West creates a reason for people to board regional lines they would otherwise ignore. Once they are on it, they stop at those regional stations. They walk around. They spend money in towns that need it. The IP is not the attraction. The IP is the delivery system. The pirate flag is a logistics tool, dressed up as fan service. Number 13. The Virtual Shinto Shrine. In VR chat and various metaverse platforms, Shinto priests are performing traditional blessing ceremonies for digital spaces. Stay with me on this one. Shinto, at its core, is about maintaining spaces. The belief is that any place where people gather, where energy accumulates, needs periodic ritual care. The ceremony is not about the building, it is about the space itself. Now consider how much of daily life has moved online. People build communities in virtual worlds. They hold events there. They form real friendships there. They spend hours every day in spaces that have no physical walls, but feel entirely real to the people inside them. A Shinto priest performing a blessing in VR chat is not doing something strange. They are applying a 1,500-year-old framework to a new kind of room. The logic has not changed, only the address has. 13 things. Every one of them looks odd from the outside. Every one of them makes sense once you see the problem it was built to solve. Japan has been dealing with an aging population, shrinking workforce, extreme urban density, and social isolation for longer than most Western countries have had to think seriously about any of it. Pop culture is not the story. It is the wrapping. Underneath it, every time, is someone who looked at a real problem and found a solution that happened to involve a cartoon character or a giant robot. These problems are not uniquely Japanese. They are coming everywhere. The question is just whether the rest of us will be half as creative when they arrive.